So thank you. Welcome, everybody. Good afternoon, and welcome to the fourth concurrent session of the day, Building Confidence in the Economics Classroom During the Pandemic. Our presenter today is Dr. Ying Jen from Wesleyan College. Dr. Jen is Associate Professor of Business and Economics at Wesleyan College in Macon, Georgia. She earned a BA in Media Economics at Communication University of China in 2007, MA in Economics from Clark University in 2009, and PhD in Economics from Clark University in 2012. Her major fields of specialization are labor economics and industrial organization. Specific research interests include economics of immigration and music business. It was Dr. Jen's honor to work with Professor Alan B. Kruger of Princeton University on the survey of well-being of musicians in the United States from December 2017 to June 2018. Jen considers economics a universal science, which should be open to everyone. Her ultimate goal is to help students see the world through the eyes of an economist, making them appreciate the beauty of economics and become civilized world citizens. If you have any questions for the presenter during the session, please feel free to enter those into the Q&A section at the bottom of the Zoom room screen, and we will address them at the end of the talk. On that note, I'll hand it over to our presenter.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen, for introducing me, and thanks to Hawks Learning for having me. It's my honor to be here. And today I'm going to share some tips from my teaching, especially teaching during the pandemic. So my topic is building confidence in the economics classroom during the pandemic. And about 2 weeks ago, I was invited by Hawks Learning to talk about this for its 2021 Learning and Growing webinar series. So I'm glad I'm able to share some tips with you again. And I would consider this presentation a great opportunity to communicate with you, and also to share teaching tips with you, so we'll learn from each other. Okay, so I'm Dr. Ying Jen. I'm a tenured associate professor of economics at Wesleyan College, which was founded in 1836. So it's a very old and historical school. And we are the first women's liberal arts college in the world. And during my more than 8 years of teaching at Wesleyan, I have observed that many female students, especially those who are new to economics, are intimidated at the beginning of the semester by the numbers and graphs in the textbooks. This observation, along with the large fraction of international students in my courses, usually around 25% or even higher, makes effective teaching of economics a very important part of my job. And if you are in economics field, or if you have taken any economics classes, you may have noticed that the gender ratio, male to female, in an economics classroom is usually very, very high. Yeah, so it's unbalanced. So even in the intro level economics classrooms, so male students are very, very dominant. Before I joined Wesleyan College back in 2012, I taught at 2 liberal arts colleges in Worcester, Massachusetts during my PhD program. One was College of the Holy Cross, the other was Worcester State University. The 2 institutions are very, very different. So they have very different student bodies, and also as far as I know, College of the Holy Cross enrolled students from maybe very top high schools, and those students are likely to be top 10 of those pretty top high schools. Well, Worcester State University, which is very different in this regard. It's a regional state college. The students' body might be more diverse than that of College of the Holy Cross. But when I was teaching at both institutions, I taught intro level of microeconomics and macroeconomics. I found their student gender ratio, male to female, yeah, was high at both schools. Yeah, so male students were very, very dominant. Therefore, yeah, I felt it our great responsibility to get more female students interested in economics, and hopefully we will have more female economists in the future. And I have been involved with CSWEP, Committee on the Status of Women in the Economics Profession, these years, and I have been the mentor for both junior economists and even economists in their mid-career this year. Yeah, and I attended their presentation, so the fact, yeah, is still similar. So in economics, female is not enough. Yeah, so I feel this my great responsibility to cultivate more female economists, or at least to get more female students interested in this subject. So based on my teaching all of these years, so I think it's slightly more than 10 years already. Yeah, I started teaching at Worcester State University and College of the Holy Cross back in January 2011, so about 10 years ago. So I have been thinking a lot how to be a qualified economics professor. I believe effective economics professors should do well in two respects, as you can see from my slides. First, they should help students build confidence at the very beginning, especially during the pandemic. Yes, a lot of classes are now hybrid, and some are totally online. So students may not have enough connection with their instructors, right? Especially in the in economics classroom. So how to build their confidence at the beginning, especially how to build confidence among female students, and still, get them very interested and motivated in studying economics should be our priority. And secondly, I believe that a qualified econ professor should serve as a good guide for students. It's our responsibility to use creative ways to stimulate their interests, help them better understand the materials, and illustrate how to apply textbook knowledge to real life. And this is equally important during the pandemic as the first one. Effective teaching requires us to adopt the most appropriate teaching methods and strategies for our audience and the topic. And in today's presentation, I would focus on 4 things or 4 tips, which are being encouraging and enthusiastic with my students, class preparation, tailoring my teaching to the audience in order to stimulate their interest, and using different teaching methods. So how to do them well, I think is more important during the pandemic. I believe that it's I think it's very important for us to realize how influential we can be at the beginning of the semester. Like yesterday, I started our split term B class, which was a 3-hour real-time online lecture. I had a pretty big section. I had 24 students. Therefore, yeah, so I always paid a lot of attention to my first lecture. I believe that we should always convey a positive tone to the students, not only at the beginning, but also throughout the whole class. And to build their confidence in economics, I try to be a very easygoing and approachable professor. In the first class meeting of an undergraduate intro level econ class, like what I did yesterday, I make a point of saying a few encouraging words. For example, I might say, I hope we will work as a team and have fun in this class by discussing many interesting issues. So don't draw a line between you and your students. So let them know we are on the team, and especially my yesterday's section had a very diverse student population. Some were adults, some were even Geico employees, some were traditional day program students, some were online program students. So yeah, so everybody must have her merits. Yeah, so we will just you know um, be easygoing and tell them we are a team. We'll learn from each other instead of I'm the professor, I'm teaching you. Yeah, so this will make them very comfortable at the beginning of the semester, and then I'll continue providing encouragement throughout the semester. So for example, for me, I consider myself a very easygoing professor. I want to make students relaxed instead of feeling intimidated by this subject. So for example, if an exam is around the corner, I would write them an email saying, you know, I'm sure you all would do a great job tomorrow. Studying hard is good, but at the same time, take it easy. Yeah, so maybe tonight, right before tomorrow's test, just try to relax a bit. Yeah. And I'm sure you will do a great job. Yeah, so this will make students feel very, very warm. Yeah, at least if I were a student, I would feel so. But during my maybe 21 years of education as a student, I don't think I had many professors like this. Yeah, so their encouragement, their comforting words really matter a lot to students, and this might change their attitude towards this subject, and they might be very motivated because of your kindness towards them. So personally, I think this would make a huge difference. Yeah, so if you are a great instructor, they might want to pursue your field and become a scholar or professional in your field. So this will make you very accomplished. Okay, so in my first 2 years of teaching at Wesleyan, so many years ago, preparing classes was my life. My estimated average preparation time for a new 50-minute class was 8 to 10 hours because, I'm a foreign professor. English is not my first language. And English is very, very different from my native language. So you could imagine, right, when I became a full-time tenure track professor, how much pressure I had at the very beginning. So I had to prepare for a very long time. And even before every lecture, I had to go over my lecture notes 4 times. Then I would feel very confident. Yeah. So I guess I had to make much more effort than my native colleagues, but such hard work benefited me later. Yeah, because this painstaking process made me grow as a professor. More importantly, it made me very confident when I was standing in front of students and answering their questions, because I'm a 100% familiar with everything I prepared. And although now I no longer have as many new preps, I still spend a significant amount of time preparing for my courses. Um, in addition, I enthusiastically attend economics teaching workshops to further polish my teaching skill. Although it would be very easy to recycle my old courses, I feel it's my responsibility to present students the updated materials in order to keep up with the times and advance with my students side by side. Yeah, so we have to grow together. I believe that one can really have full confidence and enjoy the process of teaching after teaching the course with your full effort for at least 10 times. Yeah. So I think your confidence and your attitude could easily convey to students that will make them confident in learning your subject. So this is my belief. However, building students' confidence in economics is only the first step. As economics is application oriented, it seems to be an art to use easy and creative ways to stimulate students' interests, help them better understand the materials, and illustrate how to apply textbook knowledge to real life. And during my more than 8 years of teaching at Wesleyan, I have taught probably 6 or even 7 completely different groups of students. Traditional undergraduates, which is our day program, EMBA program, which is the graduate level, non-traditional undergraduates, we have our evening program, and GEICO program. So we offer training to its employees. So basically, GEICO employees may get their promotion after taking 8 courses from us, and some GEICO employees may want to earn their bachelor's degree from us. Yeah, so we have this partnership, and since 2008, we launched the business online program. Sometimes we have hybrid classes as well. Yeah. So these diverse groups of students require up-to-date teaching techniques. Stimulating students' interest in economics is key to teaching students from very diverse backgrounds. To do this, I usually start my lecture with a real life example and then present the theory behind it. So especially during the pandemic, right? So how to make your lecture more interesting and to get students more focused in online classes, yeah, is very necessary. Yeah, so using those real life example, we may talk about the pandemic. We may compare with March 2020, right? So yesterday, I asked my students to recall those crazily high prices of masks back in March 2020. Yeah, and then compare with now, and then think about the main reasons. Yeah. About them. And I encourage students to read Wall Street Journal, New York Times, or Business Week on a regular basis, and then present the articles in class with your own analysis. So now I'm teaching 2 online classes. So instead of having them present the articles during the lecture, I chose to let them discuss their articles and then reply to each other on our course website. We are using Canvas, so there is a discussion a button. Yeah, so they could easily do that. and I require at least one reply to their weekly in their weekly discussion homework. And if they could reply more, they earn extra credits, but there is a cap, to be to ensure fairness. And in upper level classes, to push students to reach their full potential, I often assign them journal articles, and then have discussions about them in class. But I often provide a guidance to them. As for undergraduates, reading those economics journal articles might be a little challenging, especially those very quantitative ones. Therefore, I always guide them. I emphasize grasping the main idea instead of reading everything. Yeah, they might skip the econometrics part, but if it's an econometrics class, then they will have a different focus. But in some other upper level classes, such as international trade, so we have this class as a 300 level class. So I may sometimes let them skip the quantitative part and focus on the main idea and the author's motivation and their key methods and their conclusion. Yeah, and I always comfort them by saying, I may have spent more time than you reading this article, and I don't understand everything, and it's very natural. So think about those authors. Usually in economics, it takes us 3 years or 4 years to publish an article, right? So they spend several years. So we shouldn't expect like spending an hour or a couple of hours and then we understand everything. That's not realistic. Yeah. So this would comfort students, making them making them more confident or making them more willing to read such econ journals, and they would love to explore more instead of just feeling reluctant. Oh, here is another paper I have to read. Yeah, so I want them to be motivated, and using different technologies to teach economics class is a helpful way to engage students in and after class. I especially love using humorous video clips to stimulate students' interest in economics. Using funny videos, such as one about coffee luwak coffee, which is made from coffee beans that have been partially digested by the Asian palm civet. It's like it looks like a fox. Yeah. So those coffee luwak coffee, which is the most expensive coffee in the world. So if you Google it or if you check it out on Amazon, you may find that like $600 per pound, right? So why is that expensive? And it's not from those typical coffee growing areas. It's from Indonesia. Its main ingredient must be from that fox like animal. So it's from their poop. Yeah, so very disgusting. But this would catch students' attention when I play the video to them. So it's the most expensive coffee in the world. Why? Yeah, and think about its production process. We need that animal to digest the coffee bean and then and then poop it out, and then coffee. And then this type of coffee's main ingredient is from that, right? So you might ask students, which side are we talking about? Do you think this relates to the demand side or the supply side? And also, it's the most expensive coffee in the world, and then we can emphasize price must be determined by both the demand side and the supply side. So neither side can determine price. We need both sides. So now we know the result, the price is very, very high. It's the highest in the world. And then think about what cost this high price, and then figure out the factors. First, think about whether they're from the demand side, and whether they are from the supply side. Yeah, and of course, it's pretty disgusting to even think about. So as a consumer, right? So actually, this would affect our demand. And just now, I mentioned that this animal is very important because we need them to produce Kapilua coffee. So this is apparently on the supply side. Yeah. So gradually, students would switch to an economics way of thinking, and this is what really matters. Yeah. So in such videos, also helps me to present the textbook materials in a more organized and creative way. I usually show such humorous videos at the beginning of the chapter, like the demand and supply chapter, right? It must be in every intro level econ textbook, and usually in chapter 3, but it's very, very technical. Students may not like learning this chapter if you just present everything in a technical way. Yeah, so there must be interesting elements to stimulate their thinking, and then they may realize that, okay, this is a fundamental tool in economics. So I must learn it well, and then I'm able to do so many analysis. Yeah, I can understand the world better. Yeah, so many issues better. Okay, and another technology is the use of games. For example, when teaching the tragedy of the commons theory, which is in intro level microeconomics, I use the fishing game. So this is a very, very traditional game for teaching this theory. But this fishing game has different versions. There are online versions, there are classroom versions that students may need to come to the whiteboard, and you may bring those fish cookies. Yeah, so to let them do this game by themselves. And I used both versions. So for example, I used the online version from Mob Lab several years ago in my microeconomics class. It's very interesting. Yeah, so you could make the online game very interactive as well. Yeah, if students have their own computer, but they don't have to come to the blackboard to really play this game. Yeah. So the online version of fishing game helps students understand the difference between private goods and public goods. The classroom version of the game can further stimulate students thinking about the importance of property rights. It also stimulates their enthusiasm and helps me to teach in a more creative way. Yeah, therefore, in summary, yeah, here you can see my goals of teaching economics. Yeah, the first goal of my teaching is to begin by making students confident about themselves, which is especially important during the pandemic. Yeah, don't make them just like, okay, some may want to have a gap year because of the pandemic. So try to help them stay in your class. Yeah, still, still enjoying learning from your online classes. Okay, so making students confident about themselves, equip them with basic knowledge in principles of economics, and show them ways that help them explore the field. And at the advanced level, my second goal is to develop their economics journal article reading skill. especially empirical economics journal articles that test the textbook knowledge that have learned. Yeah, so it's important to emphasize the importance of reading journal articles to students, because none of the theories are the best. Yeah, those good ones have to be tested by data over time. And reading empirical econ journal articles could help in this regard significantly. And ultimately, my goal is for students to enjoy learning economics and appreciate its beauty. Yeah, so this is also in my teaching philosophy. Yeah, enjoying learning and appreciating its beauty. Yeah, like in math class, right? So after we figured out those tricky math problems, we feel very accomplished, we feel so happy. So I hope this could happen during their economics learning, and they are related. Yeah, economics use some math tools. Yeah, so and also appreciating its beauty. So in a math class, right, so some models are very technical, but they are also very fancy. So once you make your effort and then you understand them, and even you are able to build your own math models, yeah, so I think you will be at a very different level, and you would start appreciating their beauty. Yeah, economics also has lots of graphs and math models, so I hope students could get to that level. Yeah. Okay, so I hope all of these tips would help you, yeah, to achieve your goals as well. And I believe they should be helpful for our teaching during the pandemic. Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Dr. Jen. You shared some wonderful specific tips and examples. I loved that. It seems like you have a really good understanding of how to connect and motivate your students and build that confidence. So thank you for sharing all of that. We did have a few questions come into the Q&A box. So
Oh, sure.
if you have time, I'll go ahead and read those out. And if you have any questions that you haven't shared, go ahead and enter those into the Q&A box. We have a comment to begin with. Somebody mentioned it is certainly an underrepresented discipline for females, and they are delighted to hear of your quest to recruit more females to economics. The other
Okay,
person,
thank you.
yeah,
Yeah,
what
so the question is a
motivated?
comment, right? Yeah,
That
comment.
was a comment, yes.
Thank you very much, Lane. Yeah.
Yep, and then we have a question here. What motivated you to major in economics?
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's a great question. It's a long story because I was born in a family with a lot of math people, like both of my grandparents. So my grandfather was a math professor in college. My grandmother was a high school math teacher, and also my uncle was a math teacher. Yeah. So for me, I'd like to use math as a tool, but I don't want to, major in math. But this also has something to do with my elementary school math teacher. So this would come back to my first point of building confidence among students, and you have to be easygoing, approachable. Don't draw a line. Don't make students feel you are intimidating. Yeah. So when I was 7 years old, I transferred from a very average elementary school to a very top school in our city. It's my hometown city has 20 million residents, very modern and historical, but huge. Yeah. But so back then, my new math teacher didn't know I was lagging behind by 2 chapters. Yeah, so I was lagging behind two chapters in my previous school. Therefore, I couldn't do the homework very well, but she didn't understand. So I remember one morning, so in front of 45 kids, and she threw my math exercise book um, to the floor, and then scolding me like, hey, look at her here. Here transferred another like broken pot, which is a metaphor, yeah, for those um, for those not very good students, yeah. So basically she scolded me, and so of course I felt very bad, and even I had I have a lot of math people in my families, and because of this harsh teacher's attitude towards me, I think I've made up my mind even by then not to pursue a math major in college. And but in China we have a general atmosphere, so people would consider you uh, very smart if you do a great job in math. So natural science is paid a lot of attention to because it reflects people's smartness. So therefore, my confidence was destroyed by that harsh teacher. I still worked very hard in math. I went to Olympic math training school from 8 to 18. So I received 10 years of Olympic math training. But I'm not a big fan of math still. Yeah, I find economics more practical. It uses math, but not usually at a very, very sophisticated level. Yeah, so I consider them a good combination. So I think this might be a major reason why I major in economics. It's a social science. It studies human behavior, and I think I love interaction with people. But I also don't want to completely give up math. Yeah, because I find math just like like still like a friend, but maybe not a very close friend, but still a friend to me because of my family.
Yes, that is very
Mhm.
interesting. Thank you for sharing. Um,
Thank
do
you.
you think female students decide to major in economics for different reasons than male students? Why or why not?
I think I don't think they have different reasons for those female students who decide to major in economics. Usually, yeah, based on my observation, usually they are pretty strong in quantitative fields, and they know that majoring in economics would make them pretty marketable in the future, and they may have lots of options in grad school application, because grad school applications may not require. If you want to pursue economics in your grad school, you don't have to right major in economics in their undergraduate study, but it would be helpful. And also with an economics major, you are able to land. You may have a very wide career path. Maybe I'll put it this way. Yeah, a lot of job opportunities. Yeah, if you major in economics, for example, you might be very easy to go to law school with an econ major, right? Because they are related. Yeah, it's a very applicable field, especially for undergraduates. Yeah.
Thank you. We have one more question, and I know we're coming up on our time. So, when
Okay.
I talk to students about an economics major, the most common question I get is, what type of job can I get in economics? Do you get that question, and how would you answer it?
Okay, yeah, this is a very, very good question, and I understand. Yeah, many students, right? When they major in a specific field, they think about their future. They think about their future income. Yeah. So, so I would just provide examples to them. So you could get a teaching job or a research job, and also with a bachelor's degree in economics, you may work for the government as well, such as maybe the entry level, like data jobs, right? And you might be involved in policy making. You might be able to work at a bank as well. But it would be great if you could get your master's degree or even PhD. So this would make you more competitive. And in our department, we have a flyer that lists those possible jobs for students with an econ degree.
Great. Thank you very much. Well, it looks like we're out of time. So thank you, Dr. Jen, for all of the valuable information you shared with us today.
Oh,
I'm
thank you.
going
Yeah, I can see there are two more questions. Yeah, how do
two
you
more.
do
Oh,
this?
two more came in. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll go ahead and launch the 3-question poll. So if anyone needs to leave, then you can go ahead and fill that out before you leave. And then we'll bring up these 2 questions as well so that we can get them answered. So let me
Okay,
get the
I
poll
can
sent
answer very
out.
quickly. Yeah. How do
Yeah.
you deal with students with weak math background?
Mhm.
Yeah, I like for intro level, I don't think a lot of math is required. So I usually provide a math review session at the beginning, and I still comfort them by saying, if you feel comfortable about those very basic formulas, some of you may have learned them back in elementary school, such as how to calculate the area of a rectangle, of a triangle, and also how to uh, calculate the percentage change, and how to measure a slope. So those are very, very basic things. But the intro level econ classes only require them. Yeah. And for intermediate level, usually, lots of students are econ major, therefore they register, therefore they have a better math background. The point is that don't tell them, oh, then you economics may not be for you. Yeah, so always encourage them and their math tutors, and if they come to you, just try to break questions down into simple elements. Yeah, because as I said, intro level economics don't really require much math. Yeah, so focus on getting the big picture, the idea behind the math or economics interpretation, instead of solving this math problem. Yeah. And another is a comment. Yeah, Black Ivory coffee is $1,500 per pound. Wow. So that's good to know. Thanks for sharing.
Fun fact to share with your students. All right. Well,
Thank you.
thank you everyone for your participation, and Dr. Jen for your presentation. We really appreciate it. I am going to go ahead and post the information for the next session meetings in the chat room. The next sessions will begin at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So let me go ahead and enter those so you have the links. Don't forget, while accessing the conference website, you can swing by our exhibit hall, say hi to the Hawks team, view a quick 5-minute demonstration, and be entered to win the hourly giveaway of your choice of a smart pen, a standing desk, or a $100 Amazon gift card. So we will see you at
Oh,
your next session. Thank you very much.
sounds great. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course, thank you very much.
Okay, have a good afternoon.
You as well.
Thank you.